Timmy, defense, push him backwards. He's trying to get out of there, Timmy. He's had enough. Take him out, Timmy. Work in there. Work. Yes, again, Timmy. Middle.
Also, boys. What'd you think, man?
Just they have it. Yeah. From the jump, you can tell that his balance was off. He was reaching. You know, just they have it tonight.
You know, do you think it was a layoff? Do you think it was a combination of things? Like, what do you think?
Probably all of it.
All of it? Yeah.
He didn't take the punches well. He was slow. Like, you can just tell that Tim was more fresher.
Was it hard for you to watch?
Kinda. You know, I really wanted him to do real well. He did what he had to do to finish the fight, though. You know.
Hopefully, he comes over here.
On Errol. All the best, Errol. You're a legend, mate. God bless.
I think he announced that he's not going to fight in the ring anymore. Obviously, you think that's the right decision based on what you saw here tonight, right?
Yeah, he's been in a lot of wars, you know, with his fighting style. Come forward, take some punishment, dish some punishment, and try to break somebody down. That type of style, you know, it only goes so far.
No, we don't want to spar.
He done.
Damn, you ripping
Taco meat! Adrian! Taco meat! Broner!
What are you doing? You getting naked? We don't want to hit.
Uh-oh.
Pay attention to check, huh?
I don't know what's going on. What's about to happen?
Next, take a round.
That's the first thing he said, was that like I think physicality was the difference, you know. I was starving myself to get to 154, and I feel a big difference at 160. I feel like I just feel much stronger, you know. One of my big things is strength, being able to bully my opponents, and I felt like that's what I did. I was actually a bit in shock. I thought, you know, Errol Spence was a legend again, but how I felt in front of him just felt completely different.
Tim,
Yep.
First off, congrats. It's a big name to have on your resume. Overall, how did you feel about the performance you had? Were you happy with what you did in the ring?
No, I think I can do better. I think I need to let my hands go a bit more. I could have. I felt like I could have stopped him. I felt like it was there for the taking. But look, I'm pretty happy with beating a legend, Errol Spence, in one of the biggest fights of Australian boxing history. You know, it's pretty cool. I don't think it's sunk in yet.
How does power feel?
Nothing. Like, he was strong, but like, I don't know. It was nothing like I've never felt before.
Johnny Lewis, what do you think of that?
Good performance by Tim. I thought he controlled it and dictated it. I thought he won well.
What do you make of Jeff in his corner? Obviously, a victory is a great thing.
Well, he's a lot better than what he's had in there in the past.
What's it like to see this happen, this event, and a victory like this? What's it mean for you to see something like this in Australia?
Well, it's breathing fire into our sport, so wonderful, wonderful.
Did you see it as wide as the cards were? Did you see it as wide as the cards were?
I never had a doubt that he won. I thought he went capable.
Looking at it.
Nah, it wasn't the way I hoped it would go. You know, it was a tough fight, a long fight, you know, but you know, it was cool. You know, was able to go 12 rounds and you know, I finished the fight. So it didn't go the way I wanted it to go. So, you know, much respect to Tim. He's what I expected. I mean, he's what I expected.
What did he do really well?
He was timing real well, and my timing was kind of off.
Was that the 3 years off, or was?
I mean, it could be. I mean, I'm not gonna use that as an excuse, you know. Tim did the same tonight.
Where do you evaluate where you're at boxing career-wise now, Errol? Do you think about retirement, or do you still want to fight?
Nah, man, I'm not. There's no reason to fight, man. You know, I answered a lot of questions tonight for myself personally, and you know, going 12 rounds and you know, realizing how long that 12 rounds was, you know, it's time to hang them up because that 12 rounds isn't that long. But it was a long 12 rounds tonight, so it's time to, you know, to hang them up.
Errol, back here. I know it's been 3 years since you stepped back in the ring. How did those first few rounds feel for you?
The first 3 rounds, it felt okay. You know, I wasn't nervous or anything like that. The first 3 rounds felt okay. Shit, after the fight, I was sore. I don't remember 12 rounds feeling like that. Like, you know, that's how I knew, like, it's time to hang them up. Like, you can't be off that long and then come back and think you can fight a 12-round fight. You know what I'm saying, with a caliber opponent like that.
Came back though.
Oh yeah, for sure. I came back because, I came back. You know, went 12 rounds. I came back because, you know, we in an era where people are scared to fail. We're in an era where everything's on social media, everything's getting recorded, and, you know, people are scared to jump out and do things and dare to do stuff because they're scared that it's gonna get posted and people laugh at you and things like that. But the same people who laugh and make funny jokes on social media and stuff never really done anything with their life. So, you know, that's where it's at, because I'm sure, you know, people have things to say and this and that, but I'm sure they wouldn't have the guts to do what I did, you know, come back and fight a quality opponent like Tim Tszyu in his backyard and go a whole turnaround and put on a great show.
Mike Tyson believed Spence's lack of recent activity could become the deciding factor, while warning that Tszyu's toughness made the matchup extremely dangerous. The concern was whether the layoff had dulled Spence's edge.
Spence have enough activity. I would like to see Spence do well, but Tszyu's a tough guy too.
Yeah. Did you know his father at all, Kotsa?
Yes, I met his father.
Yeah, hell of a fighter.
Yeah, very tough.
Yeah. And then I asked him.
I think the son, the father might be tougher. I think the son's a better fighter.
Okay.
The father's probably tougher though, but I think the son, his moves, he's a better fighter.
Roy Jones Jr. was giving the edge to Spence's greatest weapon, which has always been his ability to smother opponents and grind them down round by round, a relentless pressure that finishes opponents rather than relying on flashy precision.
Not at all, because Earl's a pressure fighter. Earl's the type of guy, he don't have to do things 100% right, because part of his game is just to bulldog you when you down. When you bulldog and wear him down, you're not fighting at the top, not fighting like a Terrence Crawford. He gonna bulldog and wear most of them down. Look what he did so far. The only person he lost to was Bud. Right. Because Bud ain't gonna bulldog Bud, I'm sorry. But everybody else, if he can bulldog and wear you down, he gonna do it. So it's like, You see little things here, little things there, but at the same time, because you know what kind of fighter he is, his pinnacle ain't the same as other people.
His point before the opening bells was clear. To get past the elite tier of the division, raw pressure wouldn't be enough, and Spence would need to reach back into a more versatile skill set to prove he still had the complete package required to beat the best.
He's a monster.
You got to make the Olympics. You got to box.
He could do it all, bro. He could do it all, just that he didn't use that in the pro. But he can, because that's where he came from. You know,
Right.
He said, if you going to tell him something, or you going to train, what would you tell him? I'll take him back and make him start watching that, because this is the guy that we need now to beat these elite guys, because we need a guy that can do it all. You understand me? So some of these elite guys, like Bud, pressure ain't gonna be enough.
Yeah, and I've seen Errol switch to orthodox.
Yeah, he can do it all.
Yeah.
He can do it all. Like I said, when you go back and look at his tapes as an amateur, he had the total package.
While Timothy Bradley had warned that Tszyu's defensive habits could end up deciding the fight, what Bradley laid out was whether that same recurring flaw would be exploited on the sport's biggest stage.
I think he has a character, but I think you can have the mindset as well, but the body and everything else can go. So I think he's chinny. I don't think he has a chin. I really don't. He's a guy that's kind of took punches over the course of his career.
Sure.
His defense
Especially
is not
lately.
that great. He keeps his head on that line all the time. He gets hit with a big shot, he goes down. Martin Zaliev knocked him out, bro. Stopped him.
But
And then
Martin Zaliev's good.
And then you know, I think about PTSD.
We got Josh Kelly coming up. Josh Kelly's biggest win against
Yeah,
Martin
exactly.
Zaliev.
And
nobody
wanted to fight him,
Martin
though. Nobody
Zaliev
wanted to
dropped
fight
him. Like, you know, Martin Zaliev's a tough guy.
Nobody wanted to fight him.
Meanwhile, Kellerman cautioned that Spence's uncertainty was especially dangerous in a sport built on violence. It tends to surface in the ring long before it shows up anywhere else. To him, even a slight mental hesitation can make the difference at the highest level.
If Errol Spence is a decent percentage of what he used to be, what can Tim Tszyu really do to beat him? Errol Spence was functioning on a higher level. But the question is, whatever, and there's a separate thing, what does Tim Tszyu have left? But he's at least not saying things that make you believe he doesn't really want to do this anymore. The way Spence is talking makes it sound like, and boxing is the kind of game, and you know better than anyone here, and you know what we're playing a violent sport, what means that if a football player's like, I don't want to run through that brick wall anymore, he's basically done it.
Paulie Malignaggi stressed that they both had the potential to significantly reshape their standing in the sport. He viewed this victory as a major force in a division that was already being reshuffled.
In the sport, you know, they're both big names within the sport. They're both, you know, two guys who I think the winner would elevate his name as one of the major names in the weight class. You know, it's a middleweight and junior middleweight. Especially junior middleweight has really good fighters, but not a lot of stars. Just these young guys coming up now, like Duran and Virgil. But if the winner stays at middleweight, you know, middleweight is kind of reshuffling right now. So, you know, they would be automatically, the winner would become be a big piece in the middleweight picture.
Sebastian Fundora's reasoning behind the matchup showed up once the fight got underway. He'd pointed to Tszyu's consistency and ring activity as an edge over Spence's 3-year absence from the sport.
For the Crawford fight, as a fighter yourself, how disturbing or how questionable are those statements that he made?
I'm sure it was upsetting when he was in camp, you know, the sparring, no sparring, having an injury. I mean, with my last fight, I was supposed to fight last year in October, and we had to reschedule for March because of an injury. I mean, that's the only thing that I question is, like, you could have delayed the fight a little bit. I mean, but then I was reading some comments as well, like, how much time did they delay that fight? You know, they wanted that fight right there and then, and him being, or him wanting to become undisputed as well, and prove everybody that he was the best. He just wanted to let it go, you know? And maybe he just thought that this guy was just kind of a pushover.
Fundora's concerns about Spence's preparation echoed loudly, and that same tension around readiness resurfaced as a talking point once Spence's performance came under the microscope.
Leading into the training camp and after the training camp for the Crawford fight, as a fighter yourself, how disturbing or how questionable are those statements that he made?
I'm sure it was upsetting when he was in camp, you know, the sparring, no sparring, having an injury. I mean, with my last fight, I was supposed to fight last year in October, and we had to reschedule for March because of an injury. I mean, that's the only thing that I question is, like, you could have delayed the fight.
Meanwhile, Sean Porter elaborated the movement contrast as one of the fight's defining threads. He pointed out Tszyu fought more flat-footed. Spence, meanwhile, relied on a measured approach, which is a stylistic mismatch he expected to shape the entire fight.
It favors Tim Tszyu. All right, go. It favor, you know, like to me, how does speed favor Tim Tszyu? Tim, Tim to me is he's too flat-footed. When you're flat-footed, you that alone takes away from you the hand speed. He's never been a flashing speed kind of guy. He likes to punch in combination, but along with punching in combination, as we could see through his career, he's always kept his head on line. You know, to me, speed isn't just hand speed, but it's also foot speed, it's also body movements.
However, the jab had stood out to Sean Zittel, with Spence holding the physical edge in size and reach. They believed his capacity to dictate range and build his offense behind that jab stand as the single toughest tactical puzzle for Tszyu.
At that, more than anything, in addition to him actually being the naturally bigger guy, even though he's never fought this high, and Tszyu, all those years Spence was a welterweight, was fighting at 154, Spence is the bigger guy and has the longer arms, and his jab is going to be an issue for Tim Tszyu. And how does he work around that jab? Because once upon a time, he'd have trusted his pressure. But since his chin's been cracked, I don't know if he's going to trust that pressure. And since it isn't really naturally in him to outbox you and set things up.
Sean saw Spence's volume output and championship level experience helping him absorb the early pressure. That red stood out and became a key point of comparison once the fight actually unfolded.
Has something in the back half in the championship rounds on do or die, on pride, on in front of his crowd. And I think he does some in some moments there. But I think Spence will make it through those moments himself. And I think ultimately Spence will punch him more than he's able to punch Spence. And I'll take Errol Spence by a decision in a 7-5, maybe 8-4 kind of fight. I could see either guy getting stopped late, but my final pick, well, not my final pick, but my pick right now, I would take Spence by decision.
Recent activity has been a real factor going in. Barry pointed to Tszyu's pair of 10-round outings as a genuine edge, arguing that having those rounds banked mattered in a high-stakes matchup to be sharp.
You know, that's why I fancy Tim Tszyu. Activity, I mean, he's had 2 10-round fights, 2 wins since his terrible loss to Fundora. And he looked pretty good. He didn't look exhilarating, I won't say that, and he didn't smash them, but they were both pretty reasonable opponents with good records, durable. So Tim's got the rounds under his belt, and I reckon that's going to be the most important thing, especially, look, I really don't think it'll go far, 5-6 rounds maximum, I reckon. Someone's going to go, for sure. And I think it'll be Errol Spence. I think he'll get caught, and Timmy can punch.
On the technical side, while crediting Jeff Fenech with sharpening both his mental and physical state, Barry felt Tszyu's best path forward was leaning on the same approach his father Kostya once used against southpaws, which was shown when the fight laid out.
Well, he keeps saying it. I mean, I think he's emphasised that he's going to do that, but coming out fast and just being careless is one thing, but coming out fast and putting the pressure on and making your opponent lead and sidestepping him, that's what I think Timmy can do. Errol Spence is nowhere near as tall as Sebastian Fundora. Timmy can walk out, you know, step to the left. Look, to be honest with you, I know he chose Jeff, you know, to train him, and, you know, Jeff will get him in amazing physical condition, but he should have brought his father out.
Credentials became a central point of comparison between the two men. Billy noted that both fighters were in the later stages of their careers, but argued that even at half his former self, Spence's resume and experience against elite competition made him a fighter Tszyu couldn't afford to underestimate.
Yeah, mate, look, you've got 2 guys who are on the tail end of their career. I feel that Errol Spence has had his time in the sun. I feel that Tim Tszyu did have a little bit of time in the sun, but, you know, they're both obviously coming off, you know, Tim's rebuilding, but Spence is coming off a bad loss. But I really believe that, you know, if Errol Spence at 50% turns up and Tim turns up at 99.5%, it's not enough for him to be somebody like Errol Spence. That's just my opinion. I feel that Errol Spence has got much better credentials than Tim does.
Billy addressed Tszyu's camp under Jeff Fenech, pointing to a tendency to stand too square in the ring, a defensive habit he singled out as one of the bigger aspects. Tszyu found himself across the ring from a fighter with Spence's power and pressure.
But one thing I do know is that Jeff Fenech, he would be trying to keep Tim fresh. So I can guarantee you now that Tim hasn't had no hard sparring. because I worked with Jeff. I know the way he works. It's like when I was fighting, Tim is in the same situation that I was in when I was fighting Tevin Farmer. You know, and Jeff prepared me the same way that he's preparing Tim. And I know this because I trained with Jeff, and I've been watching the video footage, and all I can see is the same things.
So that's all we have from today's video, and we hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, and turn on notifications to stay tuned for the latest news, analysis, and exclusive reactions.